Chairman Sensenbrenner, Ranking Member Jackson Lee, and members of the subcommittee, thank you for this opportunity to submit testimony on the Restoration of America's Wire Act, H.R. 707. On behalf of Campaign for Liberty's nearly 750,000 members, I urge Congress to reject this unconstitutional anti-liberty legislation. Nowhere in the United States Constitution is Congress given the authority to criminalize online gambling. Instead, the question of whether online or any other type of gambling should be legal is one of the many areas reserved to the states under the 10th Amendment. H.R. 707's assault on federalism is not just theoretical. By passing this bill, Congress would nullify laws in the 3 states where internet gambling is lawful, as well as laws in the 9 states that allow their citizens to purchase lottery tickets online. State governments are supposed to nullify federal laws, not the other way around. Supporters of the bill claim that online gambling is controlled by criminals and terrorists. This argument turns reality on its head. As with all forms of prohibition, criminalization, internet gambling will not stop people from engaging in the activity. Instead, the bill would make it more likely the online gambling industry would be controlled by criminals. If running online casinos is outlawed, only outlaws will run online casinos. By giving federal bureaucracies another excuse to spy on our online activities, the Restoration of America's Wire Act will further erode our privacy and expand the surveillance state. Given what we have learned in the last few years about government surveillance of our internet activities, can anyone seriously believe that criminalizing internet gambling will only affect the privacy of online gamblers? Even those who have moral objections to gambling should oppose this bill, since it threatens their liberty. Many supporters of the internet gambling ban sincerely believe that gambling is an immoral and destructive activity that should be outlawed. Of course, this bill is not about the morality of gambling, but whether Americans should have the choice to gamble online or be forced to visit brick-and-mortar casinos if they wish to gamble. Even if there were some moral distinction between gambling online and a casino, the government has no role to play in prohibiting immoral behavior that does not involve force or fraud. The main problem with this bill is that it is incompatible with a free society. Gambling is a nonviolent behavior that adults choose to engage in. Those with moral objections to gambling are, of course, free to use persuasion to try to convince others not to gamble. What they may not do is use the force of the government to stop people from gambling. Not only will such efforts be futile, but such attempts violate the rights of those who would choose to engage in this activity, and by strengthening the surveillance state, threaten all of our liberties. Finally, this legislation represents the worst form of crony capitalism. It is no secret that this assault on the Constitution and individual liberty is being done at the behest of one billionaire casino owner, who, not coincidentally, is also one of the nation's top political donors. Rather than compete in the marketplace of internet gambling, this donor is using his wealth and influence to outlaw his online competition. In conclusion, the Restoration of America's Wire Act infringes on individual liberties, violates the Constitution, and amounts to little more than crony capitalism on steroids. This bill thus presents everything members of the growing liberty movement and repugnant about American politics. Therefore, I once again urge the members of this subcommittee to show their commitment to the Constitution, individual liberty, and true free markets by rejecting this bill.